哇，摩擦好快
Oh my god, I bamboozled him with the smoke.
That was an easy run.
So, let's talk about Need for Speed Mobile. But before that, I would actually like to talk about something small. Yes, I have a completely new drip right now. I'm gonna go with this look from now on, because this is closer to me, instead of using one of my OCs. Anyways, let's talk about Need for Speed Mobile. And oh boy, this game is giving me mixed feelings. Not because the game is bad or anything, in fact, in my opinion, from my experience, which is probably more than 100 hours on it already, the game is objectively better than Need for Speed Unbound and almost anything that Criterions have done recently. And yes, that includes Volume 9 update, aka the entire lockdown game mode, because fun fact, the entirety of the lockdown game mode in Need for Speed Unbound is literally a watered down version of what we already have in Need for Speed Mobile, which in my opinion actually plays much better, by the way. And he specifically targets me. Be gone! Come on. I bamboozled him. So my concerns doesn't come from the gameplay, because the gameplay is objectively better than most AAA games. But there is a lot of details that a lot of people are missing, and I feel that I have to clear them out and tell you what's actually good about the game and what's actually bad, because this game is not perfect, unfortunately. So buckle up, because this is gonna be a hot one. Oh my god, that's so fucking corny. I feel that I have to talk about gameplay first because of how I glazed it in the beginning of the video, but also because a lot of people think that this is a watered down version of Need for Speed. They think it's just Need for Speed Lite, it's not the real experience. I'm here to tell you that it's not only the real deal, but it is better, starting with the progression system and the open world map, as well as a full-on upgrade tree and a whole career progression that will actually end up rewarding you the M3 GTR, by the way. Also, did I mention that they have a fucking blacklist already? Where you have to actually go in the map and play and finish certain quests, so you can unlock the ability to race these members, and you have to beat them one by one until you fully unlock the entire city. And this is not a limited time event, it's not a seasonal update, this is a part of the key progression system. Criterion, take notes. And did I mention the fact that they have both a casual and a competitive ranked system with solo racing, team racing, and hot pursuit in both sides? And not to mention all of the other fun game modes that they actually rotate in between, like Capture the Flag or the Elimination Race, that is currently changed into the Crew Motorfest-like format, and before that it was based off of you avoiding tornadoes, and countless others that I didn't mention. However, there are some events that are clearly missing, but I actually don't mind it as long as Need for Speed Mobile is focusing on bringing new things to the table. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring drift racing and drag racing back in an update. But the fact that the game already have almost double the amount of content that Need for Speed Unbound currently have is wild. But do you know what solidified Need for Speed Mobile as objectively the best Need for Speed game? For me at least, it's the fact that they have their own event lab. I legit cannot express how happy this makes me. The fact that not only a game having such a deep and very complicated and very competent event creator, but also the fact that this is the same franchise that I grew up with since birth. This is my bread and butter. And the fact that they have probably, if not definitively, the best event lab creator tool in a game. Not a racing game, a game. Like, this shit rivals Halo Forge. And the only thing that pops to my mind that might be more polished and better than the event lab creator in Need for Speed Mobile is actually Dreams. and that's an entire game focused on you creating things. This shit is just a side thing in a fucking mobile game running on a fucking iPad, like what you're looking at the background, in the background right there. This is my first ever proper event that I ever done. Also, excuse the driving, but the fact that I did this in a single day, arguably with more than 5 hours of non-stop work on an iPad, it's insane. I just realized that I might have went a bit off the cuff right there, but like, I'm so fucking passionate about this, and I absolutely love when games support the community by literally giving them the tool to create their own fun. Like, having an event creator was literally the only reason I was playing Forza Horizon 5. But now, Need for Speed have their own event creator, and it's objectively better in every single way. But that's enough glazing for the event creator in Need for Speed Mobile. But let's talk about the last thing about gameplay, and that's the handling model, and I'll make it quick. It have a more exaggerated /arcadey version of the Need for Speed Heat model, with simplifications in certain areas and adding more mechanical depth in others, which would require you to do certain button combinations to actually get extra boost or exit a corner better, which is more inspired of kart racers, but it's done well enough without ruining the main handling model that it actually feels good to drive both in the open world and in very, very tight tracks. And the mechanical depth in this game actually goes fairly deep. It's not so deep that it's impossible, but it's also very, very interesting. I have to give a shout out to a content creator by the name of Norisi. I'm sorry if I butchered this name, but they actually did multiple videos covering the mechanics and depth of the game, and I highly recommend you guys watch them so you can actually get the full picture, because if I try to explain it right here, right now, we'll be here forever. So yeah, watch their videos after you finish this one. Well, you can't have a Need for Speed game without style, obviously, which is extra interesting when you look at Need for Speed Mobile and you realize they kinda did the Unbound style better than Need for Speed Unbound. But they did it by removing parts? Let me explain. The reason why people don't like the Need for Speed Unbound art style, it's not because it's bad, okay?
Stop it. Get some help.
It's rather because the art style in Unbound feels half-assed, if that makes sense. And the way to actually fix the art style is unlike what everyone in the community is saying, which is remove the cel shading effect. In my opinion, as a fellow artist who actually enjoy this art style, Criterion should have doubled down on the art style and at least get something in this realm. And I would absolutely love to talk about the details, but I don't want this to be a 3 hours essay. So, why am I saying that Need for Speed Mobile is doing it better when they technically did the absolute opposite of my advice? Well, because they actually focused on what they have. And the best example to showcase this is actually the garage, where you can see it looks like a mix between Need for Speed Heat and Unbound's garage, and that's in the best way possible in my opinion. But also the fact that the void is not a generic ass void. If you look at it right here, you can see that it is still a void, but the lighting itself is actually strong, not only thanks to the light in the background, but also the fact that the actual lighting itself feels more alive. And not to mention the fact that the entire room will change depending on the livery that you have. Like, tell me, which menu is more pleasing to the eye? This or this? I don't know about you guys, but I feel that all gamers had enough of games trying to make their menu clean because it feels soulless. So the fact that Need for Speed Mobile did such small changes that immediately improved the UI from Need for Speed Unbound. But does it sacrifice a good chunk of the style? Yes, but it is to make the other parts pop out even more, whether for the best or for worse. Speaking of which, let's actually talk about the part that most of you actually care about, and that's the customization. And in this section onward, I will constantly try to talk about feedbacks and how they could fix it, because unfortunately, things will slowly go downhill from here. Starting with how limited the customization are, because you can only equip front bumper, rear bumper, and the hood as the part of like the main body, and then you might get to equip a wing, but if you equipped a certain rear bumpers you might be unable to do so, and this type of customization is a bit annoying. But it would have been okay if there is a lot of variety, especially with how the game uses a lot of body kits that we already have in Need for Speed Heat and Need for Speed Unbound. But it doesn't do that, and that's another problem. And the third problem is the economy is all over the fucking place, because the pricing for the customization parts uses a completely different currency, which is a typical standard currency, but that you would only use for that purpose. The only problem is you can barely get it. And what makes all of this worse is the fact that the higher rarity cards that you will have to use if you actually want to win the game, or cards that are actually more desirable, don't have as much customization options than the other cars, and when they do, they use the fucking premium currency, for fuck's sake. I am trying to keep this for the third chapter, but I feel I need to get it out of the way first. Because this is a mobile game, they had to use multiple fucking currencies. But there are only 3 currencies that are actually important: the coins, the gems, and the crown gold ticket thingies. The coins are the simplest one. You use them for upgrades, for customization, and the upgrade tree, but that's it. But then you have the gems, which are the more important currency because they are the freemium currency. They are the ones that you're gonna use to get the premium stuff, and you can grind for them. It will just take a bit more time. But my problem is not with this. My problem is with the premium currency. I was thinking about talking more about the customization, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about the monetization. First of all, there are 3 things that need to be pointed out. First, yes, the game is a gacha game. 2, I really wanted to talk about other things before that because I really wanted to give proper criticism, but the problem is every single time I think about it, it all comes back to the monetization. 3, even though it's a gacha game, as someone who actually plays a lot of gacha games, I have not seen anything that is as fucking repulsive as this. Like the shady practices that Need for Speed Mobile is pulling off will make fucking EA blush. And the best way to address this absolute clusterfuck of a monetization system is by dissecting it step by step, starting with the basics of the gacha system. Because this is going to be your only way to actually get cars, which is why I actually did not talk about cars in the gameplay section or the customization section, because unfortunately, as I said, it all ties back to the monetization. The way you get cars is by pulling for them. Okay, pause the music for a second. Let's actually talk about numbers. The only good thing about this entire monetization model that they have is the fact that the banners are actually on paper very good. Keyword, on paper. The pity is on 70, you have duplicate protection. The game doesn't even need you to have multiple duplicates of the same car because you only need one car to fully unlock it, which is great. The devil though is in the detail, because for whatever fucking reason they had the bright idea to make the rates for the legendary car 1%, and for epic cars 2%. This is somehow fucking worse than Racing Master, and I already shit talk the ever living shit out of the gacha system in Racing Master. How do you fuck up this badly? Most predatory gacha games have better odds than this shit. Thankfully though, it is easy to fix. You just need to bump up the rates from 1% to at least 1.6, and for epic cars it has to be somewhere between 8 and 15, preferably 15. Now, why am I saying these specific numbers? Well, because those are the minimum amount of numbers that will keep the gacha system the way that it is, but also makes it fair enough for the player so they would actually be able to get the car without hitting pity every single time, because there will actually be a chance for you to actually get things much earlier than you should, which is technically is the whole point of this entire gacha system in the first place. As for the limited banners and the limited gacha, the normal standard limited, because we're gonna touch on that later. As for the normal standard limited, they're fine, especially with the 50-50 rate, where if you get a legendary, it's 50-50 to be the car that is on the banner or one of the standard ones. And if it's not, the next one will be guaranteed. That's a good system. That's good. That's fine. The general rates just need to be fixed. And speaking of small fixes, all the small customization need to have their price sliced in half, or at least sliced by 30%. No questions asked. They are way too pricey for what they are, and considering the economy of the game currently. So unless there is a way for the players to earn more than 5,000 a day, they're way too pricey. And speaking of pricey, let's talk about the main customizations and how it needs to be fixed. So first, take all of the basic customization that costs premium currency and just change it into the freemium one. That's literally all you have to do. Hell, you can double the amount of currency needed. Just change it to the freemium currency. Well, you can still have some body kit customization to be trapped behind the premium currency, but it should be something like these, because those are like the ones that honestly deserve to be in the higher spending bracket. But everything else, especially the normal body kits for every single car, including the standard ones, they should all be purchasable with the freemium currency. Also, please add the ability for us to choose our own color from an entire color palette, for fuck's sake. Now the small basic stuff are out of the way, let's talk about the big ones. Bring the music back. It's time to talk about the car classes. So basically you have 4 classes: fuel powered, hybrid, electric, classic feeling, and street sport. I'm not gonna deal about the details because there's some tomfoolery going on right there, but the whole idea of the class system is to make each car get a universal buff as well as their own buff. So certain cars in specific classes, in specific races, and in specific events would not be suitable for certain tracks, which means that you need to pull other cars instead. And that's alright. That's something that all gacha games do. And it's meant to be a way to make every car stand out and have a purpose. What's the problem is that they have an actual new class specification called Hall of Fame. This is straight up pay to win. Now remember when I told you about the game wanting every car to have a special thing and no car to do everything? Well, throw this out of the fucking window, because Hall of Fame cars are all good at everything. Not only because they get the typical class buff, but they also get their own buff, which is usually a mix of between 2 other buffs. And to add on top of this fucking foolery, they get 3 additional buffs because they're Hall of Fame. This would have been fine if they used a similar system to Racing Master, because Racing Master also have their own special cars with special buffs that are extremely OP and technically pay to win. But in Racing Master, you could get them with the freemium currency. Well, guess what Need for Speed did? They created an entirely different gacha system that will require you to use premium currency. And not only that, but the system is so damn fucking shady. Content creators are literally taking loans so they can actually get the cars. You're considered lucky if you spend 147 euros to get a single fucking car. This is considered lucky. What the fuck? I feel that I need to calm down for a moment and address something real quick. I have absolutely nothing against any of the content creator that I feature right there. I'm just trying to show how bad this system actually is, unfortunately. But do you know what's worse than spending 150 euros on a pay-to-win item in a game? Spending the exact same amount on cosmetics unwillingly. I have a confession to make. I actually do play a lot of gacha games, and I do spend some money here and there as long as I'm enjoying the experience and willing to give the developer something back for their effort. But I always try and keep my spending in check, obviously. But what Need for Speed Mobile did genuinely broke my trust and capitalized on my ignorance just so they can get a quick extra bucks. So one of the things that I didn't address is what you're looking at right now, both the character and the livery of the Aventador SVJ right there. I'm not gonna delve into the details, but basically they have their own gacha system, and this is probably the shadiest and most deceiving gacha system I've seen ever since the COD Mobile fiasco, and this is saying something. And the way that they actually did it is so disgusting, it genuinely pisses me off, because it's not only the rates that are the problem. Like, the rates do have their own problem and they're disgustingly low. Again, the bigger problem is how they're wording it and wording the description, because it's so deceiving, because the way that they describe it feels like you would get it within like $40-50. But the problem is the way that the ticket system works. When you buy your first roll, it will double, but sometimes it doubles in a different rates each time, basically making it impossible for you to calculate the actual total or the minimum that you need to have and the maximum, making it super difficult for you. And when you jump in, obviously it's gonna be harder to go out. That's why I have ended up, unfortunately, spending over 150 for the character and 120 on the car. I could have used this money for literally anything else, but I got robbed because I wanted to give you guys 50 and you robbed me for 200. And do you know what's gonna happen if you launched globally with this fucking system? You will fucking die. The game will be dead. It doesn't matter all of the amazing work that the developers actually put into the game. It doesn't matter all of the blood, sweat and tear that the artists have made to making all of the amazing designs. They will all be thrown under the fucking bus because of this disgusting monetization system. And I'm pretty sure that even your Chinese audience are already pissed off, because gamers can only handle so much. And unless you get your shit together and fix this, you might as well release the damn shutdown notice. And what pisses me off even more is how easy it is to fix. Like, just have proper genuine rates on the cosmetics, and when it comes to the Hall of Fame cars, just use the exact same method that Racing Master did for the LaFerrari RX-7 and the Reventon. Just copy their fucking homework and you will still get enough money while also being actually respectful to your fucking player base. I genuinely want this game to succeed. I want Need for Speed Mobile to become actually genuinely the next big Need for Speed game, because it genuinely have the potential to be as good, if not even better, than anything that Criterion would probably ever make. But you can't do anything without fixing the monetization system. Trust me, if you fixed it, no one will get angry. You're just gonna earn more respect, and maybe, I don't know, just maybe, we will willingly give you our money. I really didn't want this video to end on this note, to be honest, but I guess this is what you get when you play gacha games. Anyways, if you made it to the end of the video, first of all, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it wasn't so long, because I was genuinely thinking of discussing a lot more stuff, but I felt that I didn't have the time, and I felt that I should focus on the critical stuff and the general picture, because probably a lot of you don't even know about this game's existence. In which case, I would actually love to hear what do you guys think about this whole thing, and if my experience reflects the ones who actually played it, if you have actually played the game, and if you agree or disagree. I would genuinely love to hear all of your comments down below. But that's it for today's video, so yeah, see you soon whenever I make a new video or something. We'll see. But in the meantime, take care.